My name's Emma Bostic. I'm a senior in high school and a member of the GirlSpring Springboarders team. Today, we are here with Lindsay Davis, founder and CEO of Spartan Invest. Lindsay, it's so nice to meet you and have you here with us today.
Thank you so much, Emma. I really appreciate it, and I'm very happy and honored to be here.
Oh, we're so glad to hear that. Now, I have a couple questions for you today, if that's okay. And we're going to start off with, what is your exact title? And can you explain to us what that means you do on a daily basis?
Ooh, that's a tall order question. Now, so I'm the Chief Executive Officer of Spartan Invest. And essentially, well, what Spartan Invest is we're a turnkey company. We sell rental properties to investors all over the country and the world, and then we manage them after we sell them. And kind of one of the things about I guess the leadership position is really on the day-to-day. There are no kind of check boxes. It's, hey, making sure the company's going in the right direction, evaluating the monthly, quarterly financials, really making the big decisions. And then it's also jumping in when departments need help. And I'm a very big advocate of kind of getting your hands dirty per se and kind of helping out with all the different departments as needed or as there's a struggle, anything like that. And you know, with COVID, you never know what's going to happen and where you're going to have to jump in and help.
And how did you get into this type of work, Lindsay?
So I didn't go to school for real estate and honestly had absolutely no intention of ever being in real estate. I started my career at Cintas, which is a uniform and facility services company. I started as a management trainee and worked for 6 months in kind of each department, and then was the office and human resources manager, and then became a service manager. And I actually met my business partner working at Cintas, and he was flipping houses to owner occupants on the side at there, and he left to do it full time. I started helping him on the side, and then shortly after left to join him. It was just he and I, and we started selling just the turnkey, you know, the HGTV, the flip this house, you know, we had them staged and it was really pretty. It was a lot more glamorous than dealing with rental properties, I'll be honest. But we were selling to owner occupants and had a bunch of rental properties in our rental portfolio, and started thinking, okay, well, these rental properties are really helping us weather the colder months when the real estate market is a little slower. So why not start selling these to investor clients? So that's when we started the turnkey branch of Spartan Value Investors, which is now Spartan Invest. And then also simultaneously started the property management company as well, which is Alabama Rental Property. And I guess the rest, they say, is history. It was our first year, we did 16 turnkey properties. Last year, we did 300.
Wow.
Yeah, so we've got about 1,200 properties under management. So it's been kind of crazy and not at all what I thought that it would turn into, but very, very honored and happy that we've been able to get to the point to where we are now. We're in Huntsville. We're looking at new markets to venture into, and we just recently started a new construction company as well to build the rental properties.
What advice do you have for high school students as they are deciding on what career they want to pursue? And how does what you learned in college help you now?
So I'll take the first question as far as what would I tell high school students. And I know that this is a lot easier said than done. Trust me, I get that. But don't worry about it. It'll be okay. As far as if you're going into your career and you're trying to pick your career, you know, you're trying to choose your major or what it's going to be. I majored in public relations, and I realized my last semester in college that I didn't want to do that. And I was kind of at a point where it's like, hey, I was working 2 jobs and going to college. I couldn't afford to change my major and stay in school. So that's not necessarily what employers and other companies are out there looking for. And I'll dive a little bit more into that in just a second. But as far as the high school, you're going to change. So your mind's going to change. And you won't have to have it all figured out. And I realized looking back, it's so much easier for me to say that now versus when I was younger, because I was in full panic mode. I'm like, hey, I don't want to do this. What am I going to do? In high school, I had, I wanted to be a journalist or a television broadcasting, which is one of the reasons that I originally moved from Georgia to go to Alabama. And so I changed my mind very quickly after moving to Alabama, and then I changed my mind again. So it's not set in stone. And what I was saying about employers and what they're looking for is that they're looking for hardworking, loyal, reliable employees. It's not, unless you're going to college to be a doctor, a lawyer, a very specific skill set. I'm a very firm believer in higher education and continuing to educate yourself as much as possible. So yes, don't take this and say, well, Lindsay said not to go to college. That's not what I'm saying. But I am saying that, your work history, your work experience, if you didn't work in college, what was your GPA? Because that's essentially your job. That would determine what level work ethic you are. I waited tables all through college, but I waited tables at the same restaurant for 4 years and worked my way up to be one of the trainers and then kind of a mid-manager while I was still going to school. So it's kind of, what did you do with what you had at the time? How did you go above and beyond? And even if it's just waiting tables, even if it's just, hey, I worked in folded clothes at Old Navy or whatever it is, how did you take that experience? How did you go above and beyond for the employers? And that's what companies care about. They genuinely want someone that's going to, hey, not job jump. They're going to want somebody that's going to stick around. They're going to want somebody that was going to be there every day and really just kind of push through the hard times.
That's some really good advice. That's really good advice because, high schoolers always freak out. We always freak out about what we want to do. I want to shift the conversation to more of do you think it's possible for women to have full-time careers and raise children? Shifting it in more of that perspective.
Yeah, and absolutely, 100%. And this is something that I think GirlSpring does a phenomenal job, and I love the organization so much that you guys are out and reaching girls and saying, yes, you can do both. And my advice to anybody out there that's asking that question is you need to avoid anybody that says that they can't. You need to also avoid marrying somebody that says you can. And I think that that's one piece of the conversation that gets left out a lot is that the marriage or whoever you're building a family with and your partner in life, whoever that is, you need to make sure that you guys are all on the same page. I think that my life would be a lot more difficult if me and my husband weren't co-parents. Hey, we take turns doing dinner. We both help get kids ready. We both help going back and forth with dance and baseball. All of that is manageable with the right person. And any partner and company that says that you can't, that you have to pick, they're lying. And there's plenty of women out there that will tell you that they're lying and you can do it all. And the path may just look a little different for you. It may look a little different for a many number of women, but 100% you can. I would never, ever, I've got 2 older boys. I've got 2 boys and a daughter. And I would never think about telling any one of them that they couldn't have a family. And that's where I feel I'm glad that we have these conversations, but then it also shows how much further we have to go in pushing this, because that's just never something that we would ever ask a boy or a male. It's just not something that ever comes up. And I think that just shows how much further we have to keep pushing that envelope, and that, yes, we can do it all. I'm telling you, you want something done, give it to a busy female. It just gets done. Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Now, on the other side of that, what challenges and opportunities do you see as a working mom and a working woman?
There's always going to be challenges.
Right.
One of the challenges is the juggle. I mean, it is difficult, because there are times that I have to work late and I have to go out of town. And if in a perfect world, if I could spend 24/7, working and making sure everything got done, spending every waking moment with my kids and my husband, and then spend time with friends and other family and travel. So obviously you can't do that. So it would really be, the time juggle that you constantly have to do. The good piece of that is that I'm not the only one that struggles with that. My husband also struggles with that. Like, we struggle with that in general together. It's not just one person trying to bear the burden of all of that. We both struggle back and forth to have full-time careers and take care of the kids and be there. I'm not going to miss one of my son's baseball games or a dance recital or anything like that. And the company that I'm building is not going to ever force employees to make that choice either. I'm not, we have a very work-life balance atmosphere, in that, hey, we're going to work hard, but you're going to also spend time with your family. So that's an opportunity that I think is out there, is that if you can't find the right career path, just blaze it alone. No, I'm just kidding. But, make sure that you're finding an employer that definitely puts your priorities high. I guess I would say another challenge too would be pay. I do feel like, as far as we've come, women are just far less likely to demand pay increases or get offered less. I mean, and that's not an opinion. That's just an overwhelming fact. And I do think that even myself, it took me years in my career to become comfortable with my worth and demand that. But I do think that it's getting a lot better, and we're getting there. As they always say, times, I mean, it's always changing. So there's an opportunity for that to improve. But yes, it's definitely still very much a challenge.
Right. And going back to talking about your career path and what you were doing when you were in college and everything, what's one thing you wish you could have done differently?
And I'll be honest, it's going to sound so corny. It's going to sound so corny and cheesy. There's a million little things that I would go back and fix. There
Right.
are a million little decisions where I lay awake and it's like, man, why did I do that? I should have done this or this. But in the grand scheme of things, I wouldn't change any major events. Every crappy job I had in high school and waiting tables and a restaurant for years and working at Cintas. I mean, it all led here. So it's really hard to want to go back and change any of that.
That wasn't corny at all. That was perfect. That was perfect. This is my last question for you today, Lindsay, and I'm really sad that our time is coming to an end. But what's one big piece of advice you would give to high school girls right now?
At all costs, avoid the people that bring you down. Be kind, because especially with women, there's going to be constant ridicule. There's negativity. Block it, don't listen to it. And I trust me, again, I realize that is so much easier said than done. I get that. It is very, very easy to always believe the worst things that people say about you or tell you. and you already have all of this self-doubt. And then if any person, even a stranger, confirms that, you're going to believe it and buy into that. So the best advice that I could give any high schooler out there would be to just avoid anyone that tries to bring you down, and focus on school. It'll pay off. I promise. And be kind. That's all I got. I feel like there's so many other things I could say, but
I think you summed it up really perfectly.
Thank you.
Well, Lindsay, I learned so much today, and I know all the girls that are going to watch this are also going to learn so much from someone as powerful and as hardworking as you. I think this was a really good interview that a lot of people should see.
Well, Emma, thank you so much. I really, really appreciate you taking the time with me today too. And I hope that people watch it. And I'm available for any questions or any comments, anything. If you want to reach out to me, please reach out to GirlSpring and they'll put you in touch with me. I would love to help in any way I possibly can. I'm so proud of every single girl that is a member of this organization, because you are taking a first step right here in high school. I wish I would have been as smart as you guys in high school to do something like this. It took me a lot longer to get to where you guys already are. So kudos to you guys, and I want to help in any way I can.
Well, thank you. We'll make sure people reach out to you. I'm sure a lot of people could use a lot of advice.
All right. Thank you so much, Emma. I appreciate it.
Thank you too. Bye-bye.